I know what the work that's going on behind the scenes, I know what's been done, and we set this up to really give ourselves a tilt at the finals for a sustained period of time, but I can't hide the disappointment in this year.
The special edition of Inside Melbourne with thanks to Zurich. Clint Stanaway with you. My guest this week, the chairman of the Melbourne Football Club, Glen Bartlett. Thanks for joining us, Glen.
No worries, Clint. Great to be here.
It is great to be here. The backdrop of the famous MCG. I wish it was under better circumstances. Unfortunately, it's not the case. I've got no doubt the players are hurting right now and the board is hurting too. And as a supporter of this footy club, you're front and centre right now. What's the overriding feeling?
Oh, Clint, look, as a supporter, absolutely devastating, frustrated, heartbreaking, the way this year's gone. So I get the absolute sentiment, and it's really difficult when you can't do anything about it. And particularly, we've been in 9 of the last 11 games in winnable positions. As a board, as leaders in the club, we're absolutely staying strong. A range of things are being addressed as we speak. It's important that it's been a journey of 5 or 6 years that we'll continue driving forward. But I can't hide whatever I say will probably sound like an excuse, and as a leader, the best excuse is really no excuse. We need to address the issues and move forward.
So as we sit here today, Glenn, 17th on the ladder. That's below Carlton, 5 wins, 13 losses for the year. So 12 months ago, we're on the cusp of a breakthrough finals appearance. What, in your opinion, has gone wrong?
Look, good question. As I said, it will sound like excuses, and the real end of the day, we want to be a club where the best excuse is no excuse, but there are reasons and factors. There's no question, we're number one on the injury loss games, which has continued not just over the pre-season. I've been involved in the game for 40 years. One thing that really hasn't changed is it's critical to have a really strong pre-season to set yourself up for the next year, and that clearly didn't happen with probably at least half of our squad, and we just haven't been able to get any continuity. So even when we've got May, Jetta and Lever back, we've lost McDonald and Wiedemann. It's sort of been one of those seasons. Possibly a couple of the cracks got sort of hidden because of such a strong performance towards the end of the year and, playing in 3 finals. But there's some fundamental areas, I think, around skills, around goal kicking, that are being addressed and will be addressed over the summer.
We'll get to that shortly because that's a frustration for so many members and supporters right now. First of all, Gary Lyon, a former club champion, he thinks there's an aberration at play and that aberration was in fact last year in 2018. How confident are you as a board that isn't the case?
Oh, look, very confident. We've been building this program, for over 5 or 6 years. We constantly look at how we can improve it, whether it's list management, whether it's our footy department, the environment, whether it's at board level, whether it's off-field decisions. So very confident in what we've got in place, the key people. In terms of linear improvement, we had 5 years of linear improvement. We expected at some point we'd be challenged, and we're seriously, being challenged. Now it's not just a speed bump; it's a bigger ditch than we thought. But good clubs, which we are building, stick together. Our members' support has been wonderful over the journey and has grown over the journey. It's really, we're like family. It's times like this, it's all great riding the ups, but it's times like this our players and our footy department need our members' support more than ever. We've got some big games in front of us in terms of Richmond and Collingwood over the next couple of weeks, which we're going all out to put our best foot forward. So I don't see, I see this year as being, the aberration, but that's because of the confidence. I know what the work that's going on behind the scenes. I know what's been done, and we set this up to really give ourselves a tilt at the finals for a sustained period of time. But I can't hide the disappointment in this year.
So talk to us about the work being done behind the scenes. We agree that 2019 isn't and hasn't been good enough. What change can we expect?
Well, we haven't left it until after the season. There are obviously some changes made mid-season. We're continuing in our footy department, continuing to look at what needs to be addressed across a range of areas. Mm-hmm. Very exciting, at Zurich and great sponsors, Jaguar on board. As I said, our support's been great, but it's a place that people want to be involved in, Clint. So, great that Darren Burgess chose Melbourne. He has been pursued by a number of AFL clubs and other codes, and has chosen Melbourne to be involved in. So there's no question on the injury, fitness side, fundamentals around skills, game plan. There'll be a lot of work done. There's a lot of things already being addressed. Every aspect of our footy program has been looked at, and I'm very, very confident in our leaders. And we will make decisions we need to make to address and turn things around. But it's certainly, as a leader, we're not going to panic. We're not going to just be reactive and emotional. That's the easy thing to do. No one is sitting idle. No one is accepting this. No one's happy about it. And there's really healthy discussions going, whether it's board, exec, across the footy department as we speak.
So will there be a review of the football department?
There's a regular review. We have deep dives. That's happened. We did some work mid-season. Again, over the coming weeks, we want to set ourselves up to absolutely give us the best opportunity to bounce back hard in 2020. And we've got very experienced people, including our CEO, who's got a very strong football background, a premiership CEO, and a range of different leaders that have got very strong football backgrounds and are not dodging any issues, I can assure you.
You mentioned being in matches until very late, 9 of the last, I think, 10 or 11 you were talking to. Finishing is an issue. Do the players lack a killer instinct?
Oh, look, that's hard. I can understand why, some people might have that opinion. My own personal, view when I look at it, and I come back to, you got to do the work, and I do think there's a physical component, and that can lead to a mental component as well, and amongst the opposition as well. But it's been one of those seasons, and even when we've played, the timing around playing teams and losing certain players, we just haven't been able to get any momentum or continuity. But that's we absolutely want to be recognised as a hard club, physically, mentally, everything we do, and hard to play against.
Of course, and being in the contest is one thing, but players are missing targets, turning the footy over far too much. Unfortunately, is it as simple as a mental issue, they're bereft of confidence, or is there something else at play, do you think?
It's again, it's not part of my role. Those are questions that are absolutely being asked and being looked at. I, from my own personal experience, been involved in the game for a long time, and I've been in a situation or two where you've had an unexpected year with injuries and confidence and so forth. It's a combination of things. Definitely, you need to do the work. Definitely, numbers, help, and there's sort of been a knock-on effect this year.
Sitting in the stands, though, you must be as frustrated as anyone when players are missing those targets. I mean, it is hard. It has been hard to watch at times.
Yeah, look, it has, because some of the footy, and I sort of think of 2 or 3 of the games, a couple of West Coast games, Adelaide game, there's been some really good footy played.
Absolutely.
Where they've hit targets, moved the ball quickly, and our goal kicking has really hurt us badly. And it is frustrating. I feel it, like, as a supporter, and I was a supporter fan first before I took on this role. It is frustrating. It hurts, and everyone in the club is hurting. But as I've said, no one's sitting idle. Nobody's accepting this.
Thanks to our co-major partner and podcast sponsor, Zurich. For over 100 years, they've been ensuring the people and the things you truly love. And just like you, they truly love footy and they truly love Melbourne.
Nathan Jones, the captain, potentially offered a 1-year deal. That's the reports anyway. Have you got any news for us in that regard? And if so, how do you feel about the captain playing on?
Clint, as president, I don't talk contracts. What I will say is, Nathan Jones has been a fantastic servant captain of this club, and I expect it will get sorted out and he'll be a one club player. Love the way he goes about it. It's a difficult one, but I don't buy into what's been said in the media or about contracts, but I'm sure we'll sort it out and the right people will sort it out soon.
Fitness department's been under the pump. The appointment of Darren Burgess is a statement. That's fair to say. You've already touched on that. How much work has he got ahead of him? Because one major criticism from many from afar is that, players do appear slow, obviously injuries and those fourth quarter efforts. We are fading late in matches. How much work has he got ahead of him?
Look, I think the whole club, I think it's a terrific appointment. Let's make no mistake, it's not just going to flick your fingers and things happen. This year's been a wake-up call. Everyone across the club, the whole playing group, the whole footy department's got an enormous job in front of them. Really excited. I met Darren at the game on Saturday night. He's already full of energy and looking at what needs to be done and address it. And he brings a wealth of experience, worldwide, world standard experience in this space. So a lot of work to be done, really, really important appointment, and we'll see what happens from here.
In terms of action at board level, there's always a lot happening off the field. The Yarra Park training base won't happen. Where to now off the field? Is that the biggest challenge facing the club?
Clint, in terms of any announcements around training base and our home, our headquarters, members can be rest assured that we've been working, putting thousands of hours into this project. We haven't made any announcements to date about any proposal, and we won't until we've got something concrete. We're working very closely with the Vic government and with the AFL and other stakeholders. And this board and executive, it'll be addressed. And when we're ready and we've worked through the issues and we're ready to and we can announce something, we will. I'd encourage members to wait for that. There will be reports from time to time, but wait, to get it from the horse's mouth.
More immediately, the challenge comes Saturday night here at our home, the MCG. Is it a challenge that you personally are relishing? You're ready to get back out there and roll with the punches? Yeah,
absolutely. Good clubs, and we're building a strong club. When your back's to the wall, the expectation is we really come out fighting. We need to draw a line in the sand learn from what's happened. But a massive game, against Richmond. As I said, our members have been fantastic in their support. We want everyone to get behind. Our footy department need that support more than ever. And look, as I've said, our team has played some really good footy this year, but just not for long enough and haven't got the job done, and we really need to address that.
So the assurances you can give to your members right here, right now, in terms of not just this week, but the next few months, because it's going to be a really important few months for the Melbourne Football Club. What can you tell them?
Yeah, we're going to be working incredibly hard, to address the issues that have been identified and keep working, at identifying anything that needs to be addressed will be looked at and will be addressed. I haven't lost any belief in our list, our players, our leaders across the club, and I'm buoyed by the straight talk conversations that are happening. And there have been, things that have been learnt this year, and they will be addressed and are being addressed.
Glenn, it's a really important insight, and on behalf of the members, we thank you. Thanks for your time on the Inside Melbourne podcast, and good luck on Saturday night.
Yeah, no, great. Thanks, Glenn. Always a pleasure.
That was Inside Melbourne with Glen Bartlett, our special guest, the chairman of the Melbourne Football Club, with thanks to Zurich. We'll catch you next week.